to do some organization projects, and one of the things I've been kind of frustrated with is how I have been storing my thickers. Because I do like the bins that I'm using. It's a foldable box from 31 bags, and it's called the Fold and File. And there's things I like about it and things I don't. And so I've been really thinking about how I could store my thickers and be able to access them more easily and have them closer to my workspace. And so what I'm going to share with you in this video today is how I currently have them stored and the pros and cons of that storage solution. And then I'm going to share with you some different bins and baskets and boxes that I tried, just things that I had already around my house, and just tried them out just to kind of see if the thickers would fit in there and how I liked it. And then I'm going to share with you the final new storage solution that I decided to try out for my thicker storage. Okay, so let's start off by talking about how I currently have my thickers stored. I'm using these fold and file boxes from 31 Gifts, and they are a little pricey. I think it runs about $25 per box, but I did actually purchase them when they were having a special. I think it was something like if you purchased $35 worth of products, you could buy one of these fold and file boxes for $10. So there was a number of things I had been wanting to purchase from 31 Gifts, and I thought it would be an awesome opportunity to go ahead and get some of these fold and file boxes. And so I did actually purchase a utility tote as well. And I'll mention that here and I'll show y'all a picture because I use this all the time, and it's kind of like my traveling bag that I take with me when I go to my friend's house to scrapbook or when I go to craft night, which I go every Tuesday night to a different person's house to do some crafting. And so I think the totes are a really awesome item from 31 Gifts, but putting the fold and file box inside the tote makes that tote so functional. I just love it so much. So I would say one of the biggest pros of the fold and file box is that it fits inside of the zip-top utility tote from 31 Gifts. Also, one of the other things I love about 31 Gifts bags and totes is that they come in all different colors and patterns, and so it's so much fun to be able to pick something that goes with your decor. So some other things I like about the 31 fold and files is that they are very well constructed, very sturdy, and I do like that you can fold them flat when they're not in use. I do like the size of them because they do fit thickers really well. I mean, the thickers, they stand up in there and you can fit quite a bit in one of those boxes. Now let's talk about the things I don't like. Part of it has to do with the fact that when you put your thickers into the box and you're standing them up, the thickers have a tendency to slide down, and they kind of, some of them in the middle will go underneath the ones in the front, and they just don't stay upright in that bin unless you have that whole bin full to the max. And then if you have that bin full, it's very difficult to flip through the thickers that are in there and be able to see what you have. And so I did try to solve the problem by putting a piece of cardstock inside each of the thicker packages and trying to make the thickers a little bit sturdier so that they would stand upright. And that did help quite a bit. But if I didn't have a lot of thickers in there and it wasn't full, they did still have a tendency to flop around. And if I kept it too full, it was too hard to be able to look through them to see what was in there. So that was the main reason why I wanted to change my storage. The other thing I didn't really like was that I was storing these fold and file boxes on my Kallax unit, and I didn't like that I had to pull that whole box out in order to get to what was in there. Now, another really cool thing about these 31 fold and file boxes is that they fit perfectly in the Kallax unit from IKEA. So you can fit 2 of those in there. So although I'm not going to be using these fold and file boxes for my thickers, there are so many more things that I can fit in there that are in my craft room to store in my Kallax. So I'm going to be keeping those around, maybe just not using them to store my thickers. So let's talk about some different containers that you could use to store your thickers. Now, any of the items that I'm showing you here, I'm going to try to see if I can find them online, and I'll put links in the description below. So if you want to find them, you'll know where to look. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to mention before I share with you the different bins and baskets and boxes is that I did modify the packaging on my thickers a little bit and made them shorter. And if you want to stick around to the end of the video, I share with you how I did that. Okay, so this first bin is from Target. This is the Y-Weave medium basket from Room Essentials, and it comes in all different colors, and I like this one that is kind of like a teal green, but they also have white and pink and black and gray and clear, and they might have other colors, but those are the ones that I can remember seeing in my store. Now, in all of the containers that I tried, if you stuff the container full, it's a little bit difficult to flip through it. So you'll probably need to keep that in mind when determining how many bins you need to store your thickers. I kind of like leaving some space there because it does make it easier to flip through them. So one of the other things I really love about this Target bin is that it fits into the Calyx unit, and you can even fit two of them if you use one of these Better Homes and Gardens shelf dividers. Now that shelf divider I believe comes from Walmart, and it is meant for the Better Homes and Garden Cube shelving unit, but it does also fit into this Calyx unit from IKEA. Okay, so this next bin also comes from Target. It's the Room Essentials Extra Large Curved Bin, and this is the jade green color. These are really large and they're only $8, so I think it's a really good value. Now, I actually use these particular bins to store my project boxes. I have some Iris 12 by 12 slim project boxes that I use to store in there, and I also store my 12 by 12 chipboard. But I did want to try out the thickers just to see if I would like that or not. So this bin does fit a lot of thickers, about twice as many as the other bin that I just shared with you. And it is nice to be able to store them upright and be able to flip through them. I thought it worked okay, but it was kind of heavy to have to pull in and out of that origami shelving unit. Okay, so this next bin is from Simplify. It's a plastic herringbone tote. It's the medium size, and it's very similar in size and shape to the Target Y-Weave medium basket. So just like the bin from Target, this one fits into the Calyx even with the Better Homes and Garden shelf divider. Now, I actually bought these for my master bathroom, but I did want to give them a try because it looked like it would be a perfect size for the thickers. And this other bin I'm about to show you also came from Tuesday Mornings, and I also purchased these as well from my master bathroom. And I thought both of these worked out really well. If you can find these at Tuesday Mornings, the price was really awesome because the smaller plastic one was 2 for $9.99, and then this bigger one, which is a woven fabric basket, was 2 for $14.99. So I did look for these online, and I found them at various stores like Bed Bath & Beyond, Walmart, and even Amazon, but the price was much higher. So if you could find them at Tuesday Morning, that's a really great deal. So I did really like this bin. It is larger though than the Target Y-Weave bin or the smaller plastic bin from Simplify, and it does fit into the Calyx unit, but it will not fit if you use the Better Homes and Garden shelf divider. So you would only be able to put one of these in your Calyx unit. This next container that I want to share with you is a decorative storage box from Michaels. It's from Ashland, and it's the large rounded box. Now that comes in 3 sizes. It's small, medium, and large, so you want to make sure you get the large one. Now this particular box is a little bit longer than some of the other bins that I showed you. This one you can store 6 by 12 stickers and also chipboard, and that's actually what I'm using that box for. So I'm emptying the box out so I can put some stickers in there and kind of try it out. And this is a really pretty box. I just fell in love with this particular design, but they have a lot of different patterns to choose from. And I did pick this box up recently because one of my viewers shared with me that she uses this box as a flip bin for her 12 by 12 paper. And so I wanted to give it a try, and just I went ahead and went to Michael's and I bought one just to kind of see what I could use this box for, because I think it's very decorative and I just love that pattern. I think it fits really well into my craft room because I have the color scheme of teal and coral and it matches my drapes. So I tried the thickers in there, and the box is a little bit deep, and it does work putting them horizontally, but I think you can fit more if you stack them vertically like this. You can fit 2 rows in there. And so if I was going to use this for storing thickers, I would probably use it and stand them up, because if you actually put them in sideways, it doesn't really hold very much, and the box is really too tall to store them horizontally. So this box is 14 inches wide, so it is wider than some of the other containers. But even with the rounded corners, it does fit 12 by 12 papers. And although it doesn't fit into the calyx unit in this direction, you can put it in the calyx unit sideways. Okay, so the next thing I tried was this cart from Michael's. This is the Lexington Cart. It's very similar in size to the IKEA Raskog cart. And I thought the thickers fit in here okay. I was able to fit quite a few in there. They didn't fit going the other direction though. They were kind of too tall. So I did end up with a little bit of a space on that right side there. Now I went ahead and took some of the thickers out to just show you that it is much easier to flip through it if you don't feel your bin or your cart too full. And I did actually like this. So if you have thickers and you have a cart, this is a good way to store them. And I think you could probably use that space on the side to maybe store some smaller alpha stickers, or maybe a sticker book or two. Okay, up next is this Waverly bin. It's a collapsible bin that is 13 by 13 by 6.5 inches tall. And I use this bin as a flip bin for my 12 by 12 paper. But I just wanted to try it out and see how it worked for the thickers, and it actually was a really good size for thickers. It does fit into the calyx unit, although it does not fit into the calyx unit if you have the Better Homes and Garden shelf divider. So you have a lot of wasted space above this bin if you do decide to put it into your calyx unit. Okay, so the next thing we're going to try out is this 2-drawer storage cube from Michael's. And I did really like this one a lot. It does fit the thickers perfectly. I think the one downside to this is that it's really difficult to get to those thickers in the back without taking the drawer completely out of the cube. But other than that, it was awesome. I think if I was to pick this as a solution, I would maybe put something in the back of the drawer to keep the thickers from going all the way back into the drawer, but then you kind of lose a little bit of the storage space. But I still think that that drawer unit was a pretty good solution for storing thickers. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about where I ended up putting my thickers. So in my craft room, this is my primary workspace where I do most of my scrapbooking, and directly behind my chair are these 2 6-drawer Alex units, and they're the wide ones, so they wouldn't really fit thickers. But I did want to have the thickers close by this table, and so I decided that I would try to put the thickers into these 2 Alex drawer units that I have over here by my computer. They have 5 drawers, and the bottom 3 drawers are deep enough that they can fit the thickers. So there were some challenges to getting those thickers to fit into this Alex drawer unit, and so I ended up having to put them in there and kind of put them at an angle because the drawer really wasn't deep enough to put the thickers in there and to be able to close the drawer. So I'm not really sure I'm explaining this very well, so let me go ahead and just show you what these drawers look like and how I kind of created almost like a flip bin inside the drawer. So when you open up this drawer, you can see that I have the thickers at an angle, and so it makes it to where I can open and close the drawer without the thickers hitting the top of the drawer above. So I think storing the thickers in a drawer makes them very easy to access and to flip through. And of all the things that I tried, I think that this is my favorite. And so I'm going to try this for a few months and see how it works out. And if it works for me, I'm going to leave it this way. If not, I'll try something else. So to keep the thickers from going back too far into the drawer, I did put a couple pieces of styrofoam in the back of the drawer as kind of a shim. And that's what creates the flip bin. So the inside dimension of this drawer is about 11.5 inches wide by 20 inches deep, and then it's about 5 3/4 inches tall. And so I'm showing you here that you're going to get about 10.5 inches of thickers in there because you do have to push them down to get the drawer to close. So I just wish that these drawers were just 1/4 inch taller, because then you would have been able to fit more thickers in there. So I did have to use 5 drawers because I wasn't really able to fill the entire drawer. I was just able to use about half of that drawer. So I ended up organizing these by color, and I have a drawer for metallics, for neutrals, which is white, black, brown, and tan. And then I have 2 drawers that are color on the right hand side, one that is pink through green, and then the second one is blue, purple, and multicolor. And then in the bottom drawer on that side, I have just things that are images and phrases and words and things like that. So I started out with 4 of the 31 fold and file bins, and one of them was only half full, so that's how many thickers I did have. And I did put that into 5 of the drawers. And 3 of the drawers weren't very full, but I did want to have some organization, and I wanted to separate it by the different categories that I came up with. And so some of the drawers are fuller than others. And I think it's good to have less in the drawers because it makes it easier to open and close them, and to also flip through the different thickers. So if you want to use the Alex drawers to store your thickers, or maybe some of the other bins that I shared with you, you might need to modify the packaging or change the packaging that the thickers come in order to make them fit into the bin or the drawer. So I'm going to be taking my thickers out of the original package and putting them into these poly bags. And I'll put a link in the description below to the ones that I buy off of Amazon. And I'm also using a piece of cardstock. You don't necessarily have to do that, but you might want to, especially if you're storing your thickers vertically. Okay, so this is the bag that I use when I'm organizing. I like having all of this in one place, and it makes it super easy to put things away in my craft room, because I go right here and I have everything here, like my label maker. I have the packaging tapes and rubber bands, these pockets for my dies and my stamps. I have scissors, pencils, Sharpies, some liquid glue, and then on this side I have some blades for my paper trimmer, and I use those when I'm cutting magnets and chipboard. I have some ATG refills and some ribbon hang tags, which I use when I'm organizing my ribbon and twine. So I really do love having this bag, and I kind of had to laugh at myself when I was editing this video, because I realized that I organized my organization supplies. If you've watched some of my other organization videos, you might have realized that I do love organizing probably as much as I love paper crafting, and I kind of consider it to be another hobby. So that's kind of why I go a little bit overboard sometimes with my organization, because I just love it. I think it's fun. So if you don't like to organize and you don't think it's fun, you don't have to do all of the things that I'm doing. Just take the ideas that I'm sharing with you and make it work for you. So I'm going to start off by cutting down this plastic bag. I'm going to cut off the edge there just to make it a little bit shorter, and then I will take about 3/4 inch off the top. Now I'm putting that cardstock there because I found if I had that piece of cardstock there, it didn't slide around as much. And because you want to be really careful when you're trimming the bottom of the bag that you don't cut into the bottom of the bag, because then it wouldn't be a bag anymore. So the piece of cardstock that I'm using is 11 and 1/4 inch tall by 5 and 5/8 inch wide. And I found that was a really good size because it slides easily in and out of the bag and it doesn't stick out over the top. So the bags are quite a nice size, and you can sometimes get 2 packs of thickers into one bag. And so I generally do buy 2 packs of thickers just so I'll have enough letters to make a lot of different words. And if I can, I will put them into one storage bag. Now these stickers have a clear backing, and I did want to be able to see what the letters look like, so I used 2 pieces of cardstock. Those were also very thin, and I felt like having the 2 pieces of cardstock gave a little bit more support. The other thing that I really like to do is to take the manufacturer's information and I will staple that to the top of the bag. And it actually does allow me to be able to see what the name of the thickers are, but it also kind of gives support to the top of the bag. It makes it easier to pull the thickers in and out. So you could just keep your thickers in the original packaging and just fold down that branding part at the top, or even just cut it off with your paper trimmer if you don't care about keeping that information. And it would fit in the bin or the drawer just by doing that. I just love to have my thickers stored in these larger poly bags because it makes it so much easier to get the thickers in and out of the bag. I don't know about you, but I have had one too many fights with the package of thickers and the adhesive that's on the bottom of there trying to get those stickers back into that bag. So I would just rather spend a little money and have the thickers stored in these bigger bags that makes it easier to put them away. So when I first started using these poly bags, I was using my ATG gun to attach this branding card onto the bag. And what I was finding was sometimes it would stick to the bag and sometimes it was coming off. So I decided that I would try to use the stapler, and I found that that worked much better. And I don't find that the thickers get hung up on the that card or on the staples. I think it works out pretty well. And if you press the sides of that, it kind of pops the bag open and it makes it easier to just slide the thickers in. So these red gel stickers actually came from the Dollar Tree. Can you believe that? I just couldn't believe I found these at the Dollar Tree. They're so pretty, and I was able to get 3 of these. And the problem with them is that they're too tall to fit in the bag. So I needed to figure out some way to store these to where I could fit them into the drawer because I really wanted to put all of my alpha stickers that were this size in the same place. So I am going to be cutting up these stickers to make them fit onto these pieces of cardstock. And the cardstock is 11 and 1/4 inches tall by 5 and 5/8 inches wide. And I'm just going to glue these down to the cardstock with my ATG gun. And this works out really well because the cardstock does give it support, and it also serves as a way to kind of put those smaller pieces all on one page. So because these stickers are very thin, I was able to put all 3 of those into one bag. I also used my ATG to glue this branding strip onto the bag, and then I'm going to use my stapler just to make sure that stays attached. So these stickers also came from the Dollar Tree, and they're so pretty. It's a printed foil chipboard sticker, and I was able to fit all 3 of these into one bag as well. And I'm going to just take and cut the bottom part of this off. I did just cut off the numbers. I wanted to try to fit all those numbers onto one sheet, and it's going to end up not fitting, so I'm going to have to I think I glued 2 of those down, and then I realized it's not going to fit, so I went ahead and just cut off some of the letters there, and I'm going to stick that to the bottom of one of my other sheets. And so I think that works out really well to put those all into one of these bags. So I would really love to hear how you guys store your thickers. If you want to leave a comment on this video, that would be awesome, because I think it's really cool to have different ideas on how to do organization, because what may work for me may not work for someone else, and so having more ideas is always helpful. Okay, so I'm also going to show you this particular sticker that I had. It was like a full 6 by 12 chipboard, and I was able to cut off the top of that branding strip to make it fit into one of these bags. And so I'm just really getting brave with cutting up all my stuff. And so I have to thank Janet over at RTS Scrapbooking for helping me to let go of having to have everything perfect and just be able to cut things up to fit my storage. So the last thing that I want to share with you guys is something else I learned from Janet at RTS Scrapbooking. And that's what to do if you have thickers that are falling off of the backing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new backing sheet for my thickers using some wax paper and some cardstock. And I'm just going to use my ATG to glue that wax paper onto the cardstock. I like doing that better than using the liquid glue. I think Janet used the Tombow Aqua liquid glue, but I like to use my ATG, and either one of those would actually work for this. So I fixed about 5 or 6 packs of thickers using this method, and I had really good success with it. And when I put the thickers onto the wax paper, they stuck really well and they weren't falling off. Unfortunately, the adhesive on this particular set of thickers was very weak, and even on the wax paper, it didn't really stick too well. Now, I was able to put most of the stickers on there and pick it up and wave it around, and the stickers were staying on. But when I went to put the thickers into the bag, then they started falling off. So I say that this, for the most part, works pretty good, but you may still have some thickers that no matter what you do, they're just not going to stay onto the backing. I think one of the biggest concerns with leaving your thickers falling off the sheet like that is that over time they stick to each other and then they'll get damaged because you can't get them apart. And I did have to spend quite a bit of time getting these thickers unstuck from each other. And so I would say, though, even though they didn't really stay stuck to the wax paper really well, it was better than how I started. So I have a short video clip of my 2 dogs, Bella and Lilybell, so stay tuned to the end of this video if you're interested in seeing that. And then I would also like to say that this video took me a really long time to create and to edit. And so I would really love it if y'all could give me a comment on whether you think there's value in having a video that shows you a lot of different options on how to store something. Because I'd love to keep doing this, but if people don't think that it's really something you would be interested in watching, I don't really want to spend a lot of time doing it. So if you could please leave me a comment and just let me know what you think, I'd really appreciate that. So that's all I have for this video, and if you did enjoy this, please give it a like because it helps me to know which videos people like to see. And if you would like to see more videos, please subscribe. I'd love to have you join my channel. And that's all I have. So thanks guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye now. Hi Miss B. What you doing, Bella? You look very cute today. You gonna say anything? Nope. She's mad at me because I put her in a dress. You want to show them your dress? Come here. Show them your dress. It says, "What's not to love?" That's what her dress says. It says, "What's not to love?" You look adorable. Come here, sweetie. Your dress looks like it's trying to fall off. Are you trying to get it off? She does not like to wear clothes. Here we go. Fix it for you. Hi, Bella. I can't get you if you go back there, sweetie. Can you go back there so I can take your picture? You don't want me to take your picture? I want to take your picture. Can you go back over there? Hi, Bella. What you doing? Are you mad at me? Did Mama put a dress on you? Her little dress says, "What's not to love?" I have not put them in a dress in probably a couple years. but I was recently looking at some scrapbook pictures and scrapbook layouts, and there was a picture of my two girls with their little dresses on, and just made me want to dig those out of the closet and try them out again. But Miss Bella does not like to get dressed up. Lilybell loves to wear her dress, but she loves Halloween too because they have different costumes that they wear, and maybe I can get her to come in here. Lilybell! Lilybell, come here! Here she comes! Hey Lilybell! You look so adorable! Are you going to show them your dress? Are you going to show them your dress? What does your dress say? Come see. I think it says sweet as sugar. Is that what it says, Miss Lilybell? It says sweet as sugar because you sure are a sweet girl. They love to be in here in the craft room with me and look out the window. Okay, Bee, I'm going to take it off. Come over here. I'll take your dress off. Come see. You want it off? We'll get it off. Come see. You only wore it for like 10 minutes. Take it off. There you go. Are you happy now? You want yours on or off, Lilybell? Do you want to wear it or do you want me to take it off? Nope, she wants to wear it. Okay. So I have one dog that likes to have fashion in her life. And one dog that doesn't. Okay, well I gotta go get busy. We're gonna be doing some organization for thickers today. And I need to get busy showing everybody. So y'all say bye.